Have a nice day. It was very fun dog walking you, sir. That's the only point that I was trying to make on the Tim Pool show.
Hey, Brian, I watched the full Tim Pool episode, and I want to say, man, don't listen to these people. All right, you represented PTL on that show.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it starts with me representing myself, of course. I don't expect everybody to agree with me on everything or how I handle an interview, but those things I said on his show are things that I say on this show every day. And
exactly. What I mean by that is PTL parroting the left.
Okay, so tell me.
No argument.
Okay, so tell me. Okay, so tell me. Okay, so you're entitled to Tim, you're entitled to that opinion, and I'm not angry at you for that opinion. But let's go through it step by step. Give me a specific. Okay, good. Specific example of how I was destroyed in a specific argument. Go ahead, give me a specific part of that 2-hour exchange. Give me an example.
Name the underlying crime.
Okay, so here's my response to that, and I'll give you the same response I gave him. Just because I don't know a lot about the case or can't name an underlying crime, the only point that I made, and now you could tell me if I'm wrong. Donald Trump is not only a liable sexual abuser, but a jury found Donald Trump guilty on 34 felony counts.
Right, that's the point you made.
Okay, so is that true?
Point.
Okay, no. Here's what it supports. A jury.
Do your research.
Do your research and don't interrupt me. I'm stating a fact. I don't have to do research to know, and you tell me where I'm wrong on this. Did a jury, the only point that I made, did a jury find Donald Trump guilty on 34 felony counts? I'm not asking you whether you agree with the outcome. I'm not even asking you if you think that they should have been felony counts or not. I'm not asking you your opinion on the merits of the case. I'm asking you a very direct question, which was the only point I was making on his show. So please don't be dog walked. I need you to listen. Please don't be dog walked. See, he doesn't want to have a conversation, but we'll try again. Let's try this question again. Hopefully he doesn't get dog walked. Sir, did a jury find Donald Trump guilty on 34 felony counts? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, well then you're an imbecile. Then you're an idiot. There's no point in me having a conversation with you. You sound even worse than Tim Pool. It doesn't matter. See, here's an example, sir. I think O.J. Simpson probably ended the life of Ronald Goldman and Nicole Brown. But if somebody asked me, was O.J. Simpson found guilty of double murder, I would say, I think he committed the murder, but no, he wasn't found guilty. Why, Brian? Because a jury of his peers found him not guilty. Is it hard for you to follow along with this stuff? You see, you don't have to know all the details of a case to know that Donald Trump was found guilty by a jury, sir. So you failed on that one and you were dog walked. Give me another example and let's move on now because you miserably failed on that one. Go ahead. I'll give you another shot at it, sir, because you seem like a really smart guy. So give me another example. Give me
talk for 2 seconds.
2 seconds. No, you're going to bring up another example now because you failed on that one. You made a claim. We're discussing it. You failed on that one because a newsflash, Donald Trump was found guilty, whether you agree with it or not, by a jury of his peers. So you failed on that one. Give me another example. Give me another example. Give me another example.
I'll make another claim.
Yeah, another stupid claim.
You also got dog walked on the E. Jean Carroll claim.
Really? How so?
You do not know what you're talking about.
No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. How do I not know what I'm talking about?
To authority and use logical fallacy.
Okay, so let's talk about the E. Jean Carroll case. This was the point that I made on Tim Pool. Let's see if you can state your case, sir. So what I claimed was decades ago.
You can research it.
I need you to be quiet. Right? I need you to be quiet now, and I need you to pay attention. Okay. On the Tim Pool show, I made the case, and by the way, you don't have to make the case. He was found liable. He was found liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. So I'll ask you the same question. Without going into the merits of the case, did a jury find Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll? Yes or no, sir?
I love how you asked that question without getting into the merits of the case.
Answer it. Okay, I'm going to ask it again. I'm going to ask it again because you don't want to answer it, but I'll ask it again. It's fine. Just like you gave me the wrong answer with the 34 felonies. We'll try this one more time. No need to get into the specifics of the case because we could disagree on the merits of the case or whether you think the jury got it wrong. That's a separate conversation. Let's try this one more time to my very special dog walking MAGA friend. And it's I'm enjoying dog walking you, sir, but I won't clean up your poo after, I promise. Okay. Neighbors might be upset. So let's try this one more time. Yes or no? Because I know you MAGA idiots out there have trouble answering yes or no. But let's try it one more time. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, sir. Was Donald Trump found by a jury of his peers liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll? Yes or no?
Yes, but you get.
Thank you. Have a nice day. It was very fun dog walking you, sir. That's the only point that I was trying to make on the Tim Pool show. And it doesn't matter how much. And by the way, I do know what happened there. It was decades ago. Okay. She accused him of digitally penetrating her. Okay. There was more evidence that the jury saw that we saw. And a jury, as you just admitted, found him liable. That's the only point I was trying to make on the Tim Pool show. And I really, really enjoyed dog walking you, sir. I really, really enjoyed that. First of all, Donald Trump was convicted by a jury on 34 felony counts. The only point that I was trying to make, whether you agree with it or not, and the only other point that I was trying to make is Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. It wasn't whether you agree with the outcome or not. You see, we have a jury and a system put in place. That's the system that we have. You can dislike it. That doesn't mean anybody was dog walked because I don't have the information that the jury had. You're an idiot. I just dog walked you. Now, go back into your little hole, and I hope your owner provides you with water and a biscuit. Holy smagoli. David is next up on PTL. What's up, David?
Oh, hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, David?
Oh, well, the first thing I wanted to just bring up, how you were on Timcast, and
yeah,
the first part I wanted to mention was I did really think that comment you made was funny about how Trump's diet was mostly Arby's. That was probably my favorite moment of the show.
David, can I give you a compliment? Are you okay with compliments?
Of course.
There are not a lot of MAGA people that are willing to call into this show on a regular basis. I wish that wasn't the case. And even though you know that when you call in, we're probably going to disagree on a lot of different things. And sometimes we get into very heated conversations. I do appreciate you. And I appreciate the fact that you are willing to have a conversation, unlike a lot of other people. And that is the point that I am trying to make of me going on Tim Pool's show as you calling into the show. So I just wanted to thank you for that. Now we can get to calling each other names. I'm just kidding, David. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. I mean,
yes.
I do agree with you that more on either side, I wish more parties would debate each other.
So you agree with me, right?
I enjoy that.
So you agree with me?
100%.
Okay,
I mean, sure.
Okay.
I do completely. That's why I appreciated you going on Timcast, because I knew that you were going to go on with an entire panel that didn't agree with you.
Right.
But having said that, when you were talking to Tim about, Trump's felony charges, I hear you. I would say almost every one of your episodes, I hear you, bring up, he's a felon and everything.
Oh, he is, yeah.
34-count felon.
He is.
Sure, okay. But when Tim was asking you about basics of the cases,
sure,
you weren't able to answer it at all.
And no, that's not true. I would disagree with that. So I didn't have all the 34 counts right in front of me, but I did tell him the basis of what that was. Misappropriation of funds. I talked about a little bit of, forging of documents, for lack of a better term, lying on certain documents, falsifying documents.
Right. But when he was talking to you about specifics, you really couldn't get into it. And I'm not saying you have to know every part of the case.
Here's why I don't think that's important. Now, if we were having a debate on the merits of the felony counts, I wouldn't bring that up. The only thing that I brought up, and I think you'll agree with me on this, even though I'm sure you disagree with the outcome of what took place, is that a jury found him guilty on 34 felony counts. Can we agree on that?
Well, I don't disagree that I don't think he was actually not guilty. I think he was guilty of those things.
Right. But hold on. Can you answer that, Dave? Dave, can you answer that question for me?
Yeah.
Did a jury, this is the same question I asked Tim Pool, did a jury find Donald Trump guilty on those 34 counts? Yes or no?
Well, to my knowledge, yes.
Okay,
but
you're
what
right.
I can tell you
you're right.
Tim. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Tim knows way more about that than I do. I haven't paid too much attention.
Yeah, but
to
what does it matter what he knows? He could know. First of all, he's not going to know more than the David. He's not going to know more than the jury. Nobody's going to know more than what the jury knew.
Here's the thing. Sure, look, I'm not saying that you have to know 100% of everything. And I'm not just saying this I know this might sound insulting, but what I'm saying is, again, for you to bring up that case all the time, that's your prerogative. If you want to do that,
I don't bring up the case. I just bring up the fact that he is a felon. That's all I bring up.
Fact, but when he was just asking you, just putting a little bit of pressure, all I'm saying is if you're going to bring up the fact that he's a felon all the time, you should at least know some of the details of him being a felon.
Does that change the fact? Does it change the fact that he's a felon?
I'm not saying it does.
Here's my issue about this.
Undermines your argument.
I don't think it does at all. Yeah. So I disagree with you. So here's the only point that I was trying to make. He's a liable sexual abuser, whether you agree with it or not. And he is a 34-count felon, whether you agree with it or not. Now, if you want to get into the weeds with me and talk about the actual, felony counts and why you think it was unfair, okay, fine. That's a different topic. The only thing he was trying to claim, and this is to me what hurts his argument. He was trying to claim that because I can't name all the counts and he knows more about the case than me, that must mean that Donald Trump wasn't convicted. And we all know, David, that's a lie. That's a lie. Well, that's what I'm saying, look, David.
I get your point. But what I'm saying is, again, it just kind of goes back to, like, when you say, like when you're talking about the specifics of, let's say, the E. Jean Carroll case, a lot of those specifics, in my opinion, and again, it's my opinion, significantly undermine the actual case itself. And I think anyone who looked at that objectively would say it's kind of a ridiculous outcome.
Okay, so David, here's what I would say to that. Did you have all the evidence that the jury had in the E. Jean Carroll case?
No.
Okay. You can disagree. You're entitled to your opinion, but let me give you just a little bit of context.
Sure.
Look at the way Donald Trump has lived his life. Look at the way he's talked about women. Look at all the women that have come forward that have claimed he raped or sexually abused them, including his ex-wife, under deposition in court documents. Now, if you don't want to believe E. Jean Carroll and you think she was lying, you're entitled to that opinion. But I believe her, and I tend to believe most victims. Maybe not Nancy Mace, but I tend to believe most victims. Now, if you don't want to believe it and you don't think it happened, that's a different argument. Again, going back to what I said, going back to what I said on Tim Pool's show, I wasn't arguing the facts of the case. Well, all I was simply saying, just like the 34 felony counts, is that he's a liable sexual abuser, just like O.J. Simpson was never found guilty of murder. We can disagree, but that's the only point. And he couldn't even tell me that Trump is a liable sexual abuser. He said, no, that's a lie. How can you have a good faith conversation with somebody who says the earth is flat? He said, you understand what I'm saying? Like, how do I have a
I totally, look, I get your point. You're not wrong on principle because, he was found guilty, found liable of those specific things.
Right.
But again, I think we're kind of arguing on two different kind of points. I get your point, but what I'm saying is it just kind of goes back to, don't you think there should be more to your own argument and saying, he was found liable for sexual abuse. Okay, can you talk about this, that, and this related to it? And you were kind of like, well, I don't know the details.
Oh, I didn't say.
Shouldn't you just know that?
I didn't say I didn't know the details.
I'm not trying to say that to sound rude.
I know the details. I know I know the details in the E. Jean Carroll case. I don't know why you would think I don't. I do. I know exactly.
When he was bringing them up, you kind of fell flat. You weren't able to answer basic questions.
I didn't fall flat. I know exactly what happened, and I said it on his show. If you watched it. It was accused Donald Trump of using his fingers to digitally penetrate her. I have to be careful. I'm on the radio. It happened in a dressing room. It happened over 30 years ago. She did tell some of her friends days after it happened. They testified under oath. And, it comes down to, do you believe her or do you believe him? A jury found that he was liable. I mean, I know the basics of the case, just like I know the basics. Could I have the 34 felony counts right in front of me? No, of course not. And by the way, I guarantee you he couldn't have named all 34 felony counts either. But I wasn't into playing that game. And I don't think it hurts my argument at all. The only argument that I was trying to make, and I talked about Tim's daughter, and I talked about the moral character or lack thereof of Donald Trump. And then we went into legalities and the 34 count felonies and the fact that he's a liable sexual abuser. I don't think you have to know all the specifics in a case to understand whether someone is guilty or not. That's just my personal opinion. Now, you can disagree, but the courts decided. And guess what? There's a reason why we have a jury. There's a reason why we have this system put in place. The jury gets all the information. We don't. They make a decision. The jury made a decision in the Trump felony case. The jury made a decision in the E. Jean Carroll case. That's why we have this system put in place. And I shouldn't have to know all the details in all these cases to know that a jury
I'm
found him
not saying
guilty
you should
twice.
know all the details.
Yeah, well,
I'm not
that's
giving
why
an absolute saying you should know all
I
the
understand
details,
what you're
because
saying,
none
David.
of us can.
I understand what you're saying, David. All I'm simply saying is there's a reason why we have
Well,
this
what is
system put in
it? Can
place.
you steelman my argument? What is it do you think I'm saying to you? What is my argument exactly?
Well,
if you could repeat it.
I really don't know. I guess I'm trying to understand that you think I should have known more details in the E. Jean Carroll case when I gave you all the basic details of the case.
Well, what I'm saying is it's also that, and it's also the felonies. I mean, you're going on there to debate. All I'm saying is, I don't think you were all that prepared, because again, this second you asked.
Did you watch the 2-hour debate? Did you watch it?
I literally watched it the moment it came out because I was excited for it. And I remember Tim asked you several times, what was the underlying crime? And then you just said he was found guilty. Tim goes, right, what was
because
the crime?
I wasn't
there.
there.
He was guilty.
Because I wasn't there to debate the legalities of the case. That's not my forte. I was there to talk about healthcare. I was there to talk about the lack of moral character that Donald Trump has. I was there to talk about Charlie Kirk. I was there to talk about immigration. I wasn't there to get into a 20-minute legal argument about the 34 counts and why it was unconstitutional. Listen, here's the bottom line. He appealed it. Okay. And if he wins the appeal, then I guess Tim's right. If he loses the appeal, then I'm right. But right now, Donald Trump has been convicted. And I don't understand why anybody needs to go into the weeds to say that. We all know it was misappropriation of funds, the Stormy Daniels stuff, the $130,000 payment that was made. Was it illegal for him to do that? Was he doing it a week before the elections because he wanted to keep it from the American people? This wasn't just a guy that paid a prostitute or somebody. This was the president or trying to be the president of the United States who tried to conceal this to the American people. It's why Michael Cohen got in trouble and he went to jail. And, if people think it was meritless, guess what? Donald Trump's attorneys had the right to present it in a court of law, and they failed to do so.
Well, I get what you're saying. And my final point is basically what you just said a minute or two ago when you said it's, the legalities of it is not your forte. That's fine. There are certain things I really can't debate because I don't really know anything about it. But my point with that is if it's not if healthcare wasn't something I was educated on, I'm really not educated on it. But if it wasn't something I was educated on, I wouldn't constantly bring it up as a premise of an argument, because then I'm going to fall flat the moment someone.
That wasn't the premise. That wasn't the premise of my argument.
Well, you kept saying he's a felon. The
premise of my argument was Donald Trump is a horrible human being, probably engaged in illegal activity. The premise of my argument was the first thing I brought up with him is his daughter about going into teenage girls' locker rooms. The premise of my argument was Donald Trump is an awful human being. He's a terrible person. That was the premise of my argument. The fact that he's a 34-count felon was a very small part. Here's what I would ask for you to do, David, because I'm a poker player and I'm reading you here. So be honest with me.
Okay.
Sure. From what I'm getting from this phone call, I don't think. Did you really watch the entire debate, or did you just watch clips?
I watched the entire debate.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why you think I did. I mean, I was giving you quotes that Tim was saying to you.
Okay. All right.
You talked about
what about the Charlie Kirk stuff?
Immigration.
What about the Charlie Kirk stuff? Did you think?
Well, you got into it with the other because the one guy you said Charlie was garbage. The other guy started to debate you on that. I don't remember that guy's name. That wasn't a big part of the.
Tim cut that off pretty quick because that guy made a terrible argument with me. And then Tim played a clip and he admitted to me that what Charlie Kirk said was bad and he gave him a D- and all that. Yeah, it was terrible. And I bring that up.
Her husband.
And then we talked about Medicare, and Tim said he didn't care about people in this shutdown not getting paid. I thought that was a horrible thing to say. Showed a lack of empathy.
Well, I know you think it was horrible, and that's fine. But his outline for that was because he thinks the government's too bloated and we need to make cutbacks.
It doesn't matter what his reasoning is. To say that you don't care that there are hardworking Americans out there who are not getting paid is a lack of empathy for people. And I found that to be. And by the way, what about the part when we were talking about healthcare? And I mentioned that Donald Trump hasn't come up with a replacement plan in 9 years. Even when he wasn't president, he still could have been coming up with a plan if he won again. And then Tim said, well, that's why I voted for him, because he doesn't have a plan. I mean, I think that made Tim look really bad.
Well, I mean, he also explained, because you kept pressuring him on that and asking him why. He explained, he said, because he doesn't think any president could fix health care, which I personally agree with.
Then, first of all, Barack Obama came up with a plan. It's called Obamacare. Now, you might not agree with it, and you might not like it, but at least he came up with a plan. The Republicans have no solutions. Donald Trump is the guy. He didn't say, I'm not going to come up with a replacement plan. I don't have any solutions. In fact, he said the opposite. He said, the plan is coming. You'll have it in 2 weeks. You'll have it in a month.
Yeah, he's a used car salesman. I'm not saying he doesn't.
That's the point that I was trying to make. Don't complain.
And you made that point. And Tim,
name me a president. Name me a president in our life. He really didn't, but name me a president in our lifetime for years that complaining about a Republican policy and didn't even come up with anything to combat it. Nothing. Democrats combat it with gun control. They combat it with health care. They combat it with minimum wage, with everything. Now, guns, you might not agree with the solutions that the Democrats have, but if it's a big issue like health care, at least they have something that they can debate, a solution, something that they want. And
first of all, Republicans do have answers to these problems. Just Democrats don't agree with it.
Where is it? What's the replacement plan?
Well, for example, for healthcare, I mean, if you're going to think about what Trump was saying, he was saying back in the, when he was running against Hillary, he wanted to leave it up to the states. That was effectively what he was saying.
But he doesn't have any solutions. He doesn't have a plan. David, that's the problem.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying he does. But having a bad plan, like I think Democrats have a bad plan, I would make the case that that's even worse than having no plan at all, because you're putting a terrible plan in place. So first
of all, that's a matter of opinion, and
I'm not defending Republicans.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I think Obamacare saved millions of American lives, but let's just say you're right for a moment. Let's say Obamacare is terrible. Don't you think that when you have a guy that literally could have done something about it, that's been complaining about it for years, could maybe bring something to the table as some sort of solution? He did a little bit.
Trump did a little bit with it.
What did he do?
He repealed the mandate for insurance. If you didn't have insurance, you would get fined.
That is such a small scope.
Not true?
That is such a small scope of what we are talking about. I could also say on day one, he signed an executive order. Now millions of Americans don't have access to insulin being capped at $35 because of Donald Trump and what he did in his first administration. So we can go back and forth on the few things that he did that are hurting or helping healthcare. The bottom line, and the point that I'm trying to make, David, and the point I tried to make to Tim Pool, is he doesn't have a replacement plan. He's had 9 years. That is not a serious policymaker. That's the point that I was trying to make. And when Tim Pool says, I don't care, it's not a good faith argument. Of course you should care.
Yeah, but do you understand why when he outlined that argument, did you get his point as to say why he didn't care? Because Tim is saying, I'm trying to steelman his argument. Tim was saying he doesn't think any president or politician can make a good healthcare plan because it's way too complicated.
That's nonsense.
That
Obama
other guy
did it.
Started talking about regulation.
I understand, David, what you're saying.
But he made a plan that nobody was happy with, and Trump was able to say,
first of all, when you say, quote, he made a plan that nobody was happy with, that is not true. I'm happy with it, and there are millions of Americans that are better off today than they were before Obamacare. That is your opinion, but you don't speak for everybody in America, David. There's a lot of people. All I'm simply saying, David, and by the way, I do appreciate your call. I meant what I said. All I'm simply saying, David, is that if you're going to complain about something your mom or dad taught you growing up, do something about it. I don't want to hear you complain about something unless you have a solution. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He is not a serious policymaker. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's been complaining about Obamacare for years. There is no solutions, not even a sliver. There is no replacement plan. And the fact that anybody like Tim would say that I like him for that is absurd. It's ridiculous. Mark is next up on PTL. Hello, Mark. Mark, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, Mark is next.
Hello?
Yes, Mark.
Yeah, you mentioned on the radio, I wasn't going to call in, but you had mentioned that anyone who feels that you lost the debate or didn't do very well,
sure,
that they should call in.
Absolutely.
Well, this is the reason why I'm calling in.
Okay, sure.
And I call out people on the right and on the left. And I never voted Republican in all my life, but I'm calling in to tell you you did not win this debate. And I'm going to give you the reason why.
Sure.
Because you should know who Tim Pool was before you went to that debate. You should know who his audience was before you went to this debate. And they have been fed this MAGA stuff every single day, on and on and on for years with Fox and
I don't know what you mean.
Everybody else.
I don't know what you mean. I know exactly who Tim Pool is. I know exactly what he represents. I know about the Russian money.
So here's my point.
So how did I lose the debate? How did I lose the debate? I don't understand.
I'm going to explain it to you if you let me talk.
I'm letting you talk.
It's because you had to have known that they're going to deny everything you said.
And I did know that.
Anything that you can't. You did know that, correct. But
did.
my point is that they overtalked you. They interrupted you.
So I lost the
They
debate.
lied,
So I,
which does-
hold on. So
No,
I lost the debate because they overtalked me.
I'm getting my whole point out, but you keep stopping
Well,
me.
who cares if they overtalked me? Make your point. Why did I lose the debate?
I'm trying to.
Okay, go ahead.
Brian, I'm trying to.
Go ahead.
They overtalked you. They interrupted you. And it doesn't matter if they lied or not to their audience because he's feeding their base. And what I mean by you following the rules of the debate and him not, you need to come out of your shell and just present facts. You need to attack.
I did do that.
You need to overtalk them.
I did
You
do
need
that.
to interrupt them like he does.
I
And
did.
you need to not say in a lot of
watch
these
the whole debate?
interviews you do.
Mark, did you watch the whole debate? Did you watch the 2 hours?
Yes, I did.
You watched the whole 2 hours.
Yes,
Okay,
I
how
did.
many times did he get agitated at me for interrupting him?
My thing is that
No.
you
Hold
did
on.
not
Hold on.
move
Hold
the
on.
needle. You
He got frustrated at me because I was interrupting him. I know who he is. I knew what I was getting into. I stated my case about the E. Jean Carroll case. I stated my case about healthcare. I stated my case on why Donald Trump is a despicable human being. I stated why I hated Charlie Kirk, and I gave him examples of that. I talked about healthcare and how I feel about healthcare. I'm the one who really brought up these topics. He didn't really bring up any topics. I'm the one who brought them up. I stated my case on abortion. I'm not sure what else you wanted. You wanted me to call names? Is that what you wanted me to do?
No, I didn't say that, Brian. Did I?
So
I didn't
what did
say
you
call
want me?
names.
So what did you want me to do
His
differently?
audience doesn't care about that.
That's not my
His
problem.
audience. But that doesn't mean you won a debate because you brought facts. It's who you win. It's do you convince his base of
I
anything?
wasn't.
And if
You don't
didn't
have to.
convince-
Hold on a second.
And if
Mark,
you didn't, wait,
Mark, no,
Brian,
Mark. What you just said is
go ahead.
incorrect, Mark. Okay, you don't necessarily can't win a debate if you don't win over a bunch of cultists. That is ridiculous. Okay, if I'm debating somebody on, I don't know, some right-wing podcast like Clay Travis, I'm not there to try to win over his listeners. They are cultists, and you know that. That doesn't mean I lost the debate because I'm not changing the mind of a right-wing buffoon who looks up to Donald Trump as some sort of messiah. I think you're losing this debate. With respect, Mark, you're
my
entitled.
question is this to you, Brian. My question is this. If I know you can't win them over. I know that.
So why are you
because
bringing
they're
that up
not
then? And
the
why are you
base.
saying I lost
So
the debate?
my point is, what did this debate actually do other than your base?
So that is
and
very
the people on your side.
So
say,
that is
yeah.
Sure. So that is very different than what you just said about me, quote unquote, losing a debate. You lose a debate when somebody else fact checks you and makes you out to look like a buffoon. I'm sorry, but that did not happen with me. And just because I didn't win over a bunch of cultists doesn't mean I lost the debate. Just because there were times where they hold on. I'm going to answer your question. Just because they interrupted me doesn't mean I lost the debate. By the way, I interrupted them as well. I was able to get my point across on multiple times. And if I felt like I wasn't able to get my point across, I would say, can you please give me 30 seconds to state my case? So I respectfully disagree with you there. Now you asked me hold on. Let me answer your question. You asked me the question, Mark. Okay. You asked me, what good did it do? Well, there's a couple things the way I would answer that question. First of all, he has an enormous platform. And even if I didn't win over many of his listeners, I got private messages on X, and I got a bunch of messages from people that I could share with you guys and emails from people that said, I'm a big Tim Pool fan, but I thought you did a great job. One of the better jobs of someone who disagrees with him. I also spoke to his producers and many people behind the scenes who thought it was great. And I challenged him. Now, I'm not looking to win anybody over. That's not why I showed up. I was there to take the platform and state my case. And I believe it is a positive when anybody on the other side can go on what was a very contentious debate and heated debate with somebody with a large platform. And that's something that I've been imploring Democrats to do. I think it does accomplish something. Example, the Governor Newsom has done the Sean Hannity show a couple times. You're not going to win over Sean Hannity's base, I can guarantee you. But it shows some balls to be able to go on the other side and debate somebody like a Sean Hannity or like a Tim Pool. I don't regret going on there at all. They treated me with respect. I'm going to do it again because it's something that I think is much more of a positive than a negative. And quite frankly, I wish both sides would do more of that. So, Mark, I disagree with you. I don't think you lose a debate because you didn't win over a bunch of cultist listeners. I don't think you lose a debate because there were some times. And by the way, I didn't think they interrupted me a lot. I interrupted them too. I didn't think it was that bad at all. I thought it was a lot better than Piers Morgan. I'm interrupted every 3 seconds on the Piers Morgan show. I don't think you lose a debate because of that either. I believe I was able to get all my points across. People can take it for what they want. But here's the thing, Mark, for the most part. If you're a diehard,
I have one more thing to say.
I understand. If you're a diehard Tim Pool fan and you're a cultist, you're going to say I got destroyed. If you're middle ground or on the left, you're probably going to say that I destroyed him. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. I was happy with my performance. The people that were close to me, my friends, my family, and people that are big fans of the show really enjoyed it. Fans of his show enjoyed it. And that's what's more important to me than anything else. Not a medal. I'm not getting a medal that says I defeated Tim Pool in a debate. People are going to have their opinions, and that's fine. Go ahead, Mark. Mark, go ahead. I think Mark just lost the debate. Mark, I appreciate the call. I would have let you finish, my friend, but I think we got disconnected there. I think Mark just lost the debate. That's why he hung up. Mark, you didn't win any of my fans over. I'm just kidding, Mark. I appreciate the call.